In this film, we're going to take a very quick look at Gaugemaster's recent DCC system, the Infinity Sovereign set. It's a wireless set. We have to be realistic. We have to buy everything to do these films. There are no freebies in this world, so there's going to be some shameless promotion done during this film. We import Lenz, and Lenz DCC makes some fabulous decoders, and we want to make sure that people know of their quality and see how easy they are to use, and that they work with other digital systems. So my primary aim on this film is to introduce the customer base to the Lenz decoder range and some accessories. So the very first step with any digital system is to tell the system what it's driving. I've got a Bachmann Class 37 here that I've fitted with the Lenz decoder. It's a Plux 22 for information. The default address on the majority of decoders out there is 3, and Gaugemaster have a roster system that allows you to find your locos, so you can put in identifiers to make it much easier to locate your locos in the list, because you can put up to 100 locos into the list. If we press the loco button from the start, it says the roster is empty, so press the loco. And from the start it's supplied with addresses 3 through 10, pre-selected with basic, loco 03 and all that sort of stuff written. I've added mallard in there just for fun. So we'll start with loco 3 because we know this is on address 3. So I'm going to add that to my roster. It actually drops into the driving screen, but if you want to go back to the list, press loco. You can see that the available locos now are marked with a dash. So if I add address 4 as well, this means that you have a quick select system. So the locos that you've selected you can recall, and it will cycle through. If I add another one to it, let's go and add that mallard. Add. So that just demonstrates a quick select for jumping between locos. You can add to the list or deduct from the list depending on what operations you're carrying out. There is a physical maximum number of locos that you can keep an eye on at once anyway. So we'll take the mallard off, so we'll press park this time. If we go up the list, the recall button does that, just takes you to the driving screen. So we just have the basic driving controls, direction of travel, and the thumb wheel, clockwise to accelerate, anti-clockwise to decelerate. And then there is a stop button that will bring the loco to an abrupt halt. If you want to stop everything on the layout, then hold the stop button for 3 seconds and it will shut everything down. I think that's stopped. Let me put some lights on. Okay, get it running. We'll hold the emergency stop. Yes, it cuts power to the track as well. So if you've had an accident, then you can shut the whole layout down, resolve the incident, and then restart. Yeah. You may have noticed I turned the lights on. That is function 0 on most decoders. There are other functions on this loco, and you can see the function selection there. Just looking at the first 10 at the moment, you can light up a whole load of different functions there. And we'll go through that in a more thorough manner later. So we've covered the first loco on address 3, and I personally would reserve loco 3, so use this as your new loco slot every time. For the next stage, we want to give the loco an identity. I'm probably going to give it address 37 as it's a class 37. And that involves playing around with the roster. Something I have found is that it is worth clearing the roster when you start adding new locos. So we're just going to park everything and get it off. Right, I think that should be everyone out. We'll use the thingy button. Yeah, it says roster empty. The reason I've done that is that when you've got the roster selected, it blocks out addressing options when you add a new item. And I think this is to stop the system getting confused if things are running. So we've emptied the roster. We now go to that menu, option 3, and option 1 to edit the locos. So there you are, you've got the locos that are already in there. I've added one just to play around. Let's add another. What it does, it puts it into the first available free address, which is 11. If the roster is active, then it blocks out this second option, which I found a bit annoying. I'm sure there's a technical reason for it, but we'll ignore that at the moment. So I'm now telling the handset that I want that loco to be address 37. We'll just go back. And then option 1, you can name it, but I'm going to sort of use a little shorthand for the moment. Oops. So there's a little skip button here, and the direction change button changes which direction you go along the line. So I'm just going to go here and use the rotor to change this to 37. There is a full alphanumeric thing if you carry on round spinning. You can put in names. You can always do that later. I think a quick shorthand is quite handy, particularly if you're going to be chopping and changing locos. So we've got 37 in there. We'll press back. So named it loco 37. It's on DCC address 37. And then the third option here is speed steps. And there's 3 options, 14, 28, 128. 14 is a 1990s format, so unless you're specifically told to use 14, just ignore it. I think factory set, they've put everything on 128. The only thing there is that you've got to spin the rotor a lot to make movement. So I quite like the 28 speed step option. So we're just going to save that in there. And if we use the stop button, we'll come all the way back out to the front. The roster's empty at the moment, so we'll go into the locos there. And it stores them alphabetically. So I want to add that onto the roster. So that's the handset set up. We'll now program the loco to address 37. So it's a 2-stage process, and this applies no matter what DCC system you're using. You need the system to know what it's driving, and you need the loco to know what identity it's carrying. Okay, so we're now going to introduce the concept of the programming track, which has its own port here. It says PRG prog underneath there. Our main track is plugged in here, and that's the painted track here. My programming track, I've just got a scrap of old Fleischmann Flexi. And your programming track is your safety net. It's low power, so it won't damage the loco if there's a fault. And it's also the cleanest way of getting read back from the decoder. So there are some programming operations you can do on the main track, but the programming track I think should be your default. So back to the handset, got the driving screen here, we'll press menu, going down to 3 is more, and down here 4 program CVs, and we're using option 1 programming on the programming track, and I did talk about loco main track. We'll ignore that for the moment. So option 1 is the programming track outlet, and here there are 2 options. There is the CV and then the value. They've done a short address shortcut here for loco address, but if I type in a number, it will change it. It has a delay system, so you can type a bit, but if you take too long to type, it will restart again. So it's a way of allowing you to punch in numbers without having a complicated back key or anything like that. So we are going to go back to here. CV1 is your 2-digit loco address, and if we press the option here, it will read from the loco. You may hear it ticking a little bit. Let's come back with a value of 3, and what I want to do is go down to that second option there, and I'm going to type in the new value, which I want it to be 37, and then go to the middle option here that says program, and it sent it. Says success. So the programming track allows the loco to respond back to the system as well. So out on the main track you won't get a response from the loco. The data can only go out to the track. There's no information coming back. But on the programming track, the system is allowed to look for a loco response. Hence you get the sign that says success. It knows the loco's seen it. If it does fail, then it could be that the loco isn't picking up power very well. You need to check your wheel contacts and everything like that. Right. We'll come back here, and we're going to transfer from my programming track, the programming track is dead, to the live main track. And here we are, we have the loco there on address 37 now. If you ever want to go back, you can go and edit the name, and you can edit the speed steps. Let's have a quick look. There's a few functions that are already in the loco, so oops. So function 0 there is the lighting, front and rear. Function 6, the loco has engine room lights. 8 and 9 are the cab lights. And on a Lenz decoder, function 3 is shunting speed. So we'll turn that around, get it going, apply function 3, and it halves the speed. Function 4 is like a direct drive function. It turns off all the decoder inertias, so it will drive directly from the wheel. Now, I'm not 100% sure how useful that is, but some people like it, particularly if you've set your decoders for high inertia. Function 4 will take that off. It just goes to a much more direct drive from the wheel. There may be manoeuvres you want to do without worrying about how the loco accelerates, but that's with inertia, and it's much more realistic. Okay, so I'm going to look at adding another loco. So I've dumped one onto the programming track here. Got the class 37 on the main track still. So we'll do it a slightly different way. So we're going to the menu like before. Option 3 for more. Option 1 for edit locos. So we've got the roster as is with our 37 in there. I'm going to add And now we've got these options for adding a loco. Number 2 for the address. I want to put in 1851 there, so the 4-digit address of the loco. 1851. I'm going to press program. It actually pulses the motor when it's programming on a programming track, so some locos it's more noticeable than others. So that is now programmed a loco and entered a part of a new record. The name, we can go through changing a lot of things. Get to the next one. Sorry, it takes something you want to do at your leisure. It takes a bit of time to do this, but you're only doing it once for each loco, and you can develop a shorthand. You can just dump it in as loco 11 and remember what you've put in there. Oops, wrong way. You can, I believe, also do small caps and non-caps, but let's not get carried away at this moment. I'm just going to call it, oops, that's my eyesight, sorry about this. Let's go back to here. I'm going to call it mule. We won't worry about the thing. We can always edit that later. It's my test mule. 3 speed steps, 28 or 128. I'll leave this on 128 for the moment. Okay, so we're happy with that. We can save it. Goes back to the list. We want to have a look and find it. It's in alphabetical order, so it's down here. I'm going to add that. Okay, oops. I'll come back out of there, sorry. I'm in the wrong menu. So if we press the stop, we'll go back to the driving. Still getting used to this as well. So you hear it's on the list, it's come up with mule. I didn't change the 11. We're going to add it now to the roster. So it's on address 1851. And it's there. This has got a tiny Lenz mini decoder wired into it. Just controlling the function lights there. This is a 20-year-old, maybe even older Fleischmann loco. And then we can demonstrate the roster. If we go into recall, we can quickly jump to the other loco in the roster and drive it as well. That one's still moving. Now we press recall again, jump to the other loco in the roster and stop it there. So the roster mechanism allows you to quickly work with existing locos without having all the locos in your list available. And so that's where adding and parking them comes in handy. Lenz make a range of decoders for 00 scale models as well as 009. Depending on what interface the manufacturer has specified, there are lots of different decoders. There's a 21 MTC here, a Plux 22, a Next 18, a Plux 12 and an 8-pin here. These are most commonly used on 00 locos, depending on the size and what the manufacturer has fitted. The Lenz decoders are fully DCC NMRA compliant, so they follow the rules that have been laid out for DCC to the letter. So for N-Gauge, Lenz have in their range the Silver Mini with wires, the Silver Mini 6-pin, and the Silver Mini with Next 18 interface. So this old Minitrix loco has got a 6-pin interface. It does have an incredible coreless motor, this loco. The S36 was one of Minitrix's best locos ever. For TT scale, Lenz have got the 6-pin, the Next 18, which is the most common. This particular loco has got a Plux interface, and the standard 8-pin for some of the older TT locos. So this particular loco has got side number plates that illuminate. So a quick look with the body on. The Lenz decoders run beautifully. This is a carbon brush motor. And yes, you've got suitable functions for the loco. So I'm going to pause right here. We've shown how to drive locos and how to add locos to the roster. That's your basic functions of the layout, getting things running. There is an awful lot more to cover. It's best not to go into information overload. With any system, it is a bit of muscle memory. The more you use it, the easier entering things becomes, and you get a clearer idea of how the handset is structured. Every manufacturer has the same problem. You want to have a nice clean handset without 1,000 buttons on it. So you end up with these layered menus to input information in. But information like the name, you're only doing it once. So once you've got that input, you don't need to worry about it.